Welcome to Blake Street Banter, where one of us knows what the word banter means, the other one is just along for the ride. What up, Tyler?
How we doing?
We're going. It's been a month since we've been on. This is not a data dump. This is not a road to Blake Street. This is a classic Blake Street Banter pod because I have time. This kind of sucks. Like every time I get on here, it's just like, hey, time is fleeting and I can't do anything. However, my kid has hand, foot, and mouth, and so I get to stay home with him. He's taking a nap. Tyler's just kind of unemployed. So we are just
throw me under the bus. No.
We are just going to talk rocks and take it back a little bit. So yeah. What's new? Give me one good thing that's happened in your life over the last month since the last time we talked.
I mean, I am unemployed, but I feel like I'm about to begin like my life kind of. I'm excited to be like a fully independent adult individual. So that would, I think the expectation that's going to happen soon is probably the best thing recently.
There we go.
A lot of pressure around that. So, kind of sours other things, but yeah.
Hey, at least we always have the Rockies to make ourselves feel a little bit better. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if that's the right wording.
They're making me feel absolutely tremendous right now as well. Just the last few days, this whole year's been fantastic. So
just been a great last 3 years. Shoot, let's just run it back. Your entire time in Denver has just been fantastic.
Yeah. I moved back here in 2022, and I mean, 100 lost seasons since then.
Yeah.
Avs won a Stanley Cup. So I was like, they signed Chris Bryant, signed Russell Wilson, or traded for and extended Russell Wilson. And I was like, oh, Denver sports, it's blowing up now. And then a couple of those things did not go well.
Not at all. The Russell Wilson experience is fun in New York right now, too. What up, Isaac? The boys are here. Thanks for hanging out. Birds, we see you, dog. We'll get to it. I know it's on topic to what we're going to have a conversation about, so we'll just read those online. So hopefully you're still there listening. Let's go to Twitter. I posted yesterday, are you mad that the Rockies haven't announced changes yet? What is your timeline for announcement of any kind before you are mad? And I kind of set that like for myself, but also to get reactions. I'm going to respond to the question myself, and then I'll read some, and then I'll get your reaction. I need the Rockies to do something by game 1 of the playoffs today. Like by 1 o'clock Eastern, 11 o'clock Mountain Time. There needs to be some kind of announcement. Everything has been trickling that there are front office moves being making. Our own intel, Patrick Saunders reported something stuff. ESPN, Kevin Henry's out there saying, hey, we expect something to happen, but nothing official, which, right, the season ended Sunday. It's been 2 days. I get you might want to close some of those books, write those thank you letters, shake some hands. But it's the Rockies. And this is where our frustration comes along. Like, you don't really give us any faith to say that, hey, we've been working on a plan since we fired Bud Black. We've been working on a plan since we announced that Walker Monfort was going to take over Fiesel as the president of operations. You haven't really given us anything to trust that you have made a plan for this moment in time for baseball. Because right now is when it needs to start. Like, Giants have fired their coach. There are teams saying that they are bringing back their coach. The dude in Pirates land is coming back. Like, there's announcements being made about the future of their franchise, which is what we, I think, deserve as fans at any point. Whether you need to say thank you and shake hands and give hugs and all that, you still should be telling us, like, yeah, Warren isn't coming back. We are doing this, and this. Hey, Warren is our dog. We're going through with him, but there might be some changes coming up, blah, blah, blah. Like, you need to tell us something. I think we deserve that as fans when we see it across these good franchises doing things. The Giants, very open about what they're doing. The Nationals have been very open about what they're doing. They've won a World Series pretty recently. I mean, still a shit show, but the point is still, like, these good franchises are doing stuff. What are the Rockies doing? I don't know. And like 2 days into the offseason after 300 lost seasons, I think is a timeline like we need to hear something. Hopefully this isn't a preventive way too early podcast, because we would much rather be reactionary than anything. But I don't think we're going to get anything at 8 o'clock this Monday morning or Tuesday morning. But I need something soon. Otherwise, I'm going to be mad, and I feel like I haven't been mad very recently. So that's my take. We'll get your take in a little bit. The Rockies fans on the Twitter. I'm just going to read a few. Huge fan of Dari. She's been an OG since the beginning. I feel like the Schmidt news should have been announced before game 162. Now seeing other teams move quickly with urgency from media staff 24 hours after the end of the season and seeing the Rockies sitting on their hands saying nothing is going to be announced is not a good look. We're on the same page. Nick Berkland, big time OG as well. I won't be mad unless there's nothing has been announced after a month. He's given a huge timeline, a month, 30 days, which is crazy. So when the playoffs are over, he wants an announcement. This team needs an overhaul in a bad way, but I also want them to take some time and be smart. The clock starts now. I've already given my thoughts. I won't go more into it. I was mad opening day by Nathan. I'm numb now. I feel you, dog. My response to him was, it's a new season. We're all right. I always appreciate Skyler. Skyler always gives his opinions. I'm not concerned about official news on firings until hirings start. My main concern at the moment is more of if we're having candidate meetings. You can fire anytime, but the longer you take to decide who to hire, the less options you have. WSN already snagged a really good option, the Washington Nationals. Rockies Rooftop, good follow. You would hope that they already made up their minds and have made a list of potential candidates. I'm not mad yet, but we really need to hear something within the next couple of days. And the last one, The Longer They Wait by Taylor. The longer they wait, the farther behind they get from other teams in the same scenario. Would hate to lose out on the right hire because we were late and another team got to them first. What did you hear there? What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? Where are you at, big dog?
I mean, it is crazy that we're in this position. Is like, think about being a fan of the Rockies. You're not used to the right things happening. Like, I mean, you didn't fire Jeff Bradich timely. Bill Schmidt, he didn't really get a long leash, but hasn't earned one. And here we are. Like, it's not typical Rockies fan activity to expect the front office to get blown up. And we're sitting here like, I'd be crazy if someone was like, no, keep him around. But like, we're just sitting here and unanimously like, let's get this done. And that's, yep. I mean, that's crazy. I think that really shows it has to happen. It's another. I mean, we've been seeing stuff for years where the fan base is just in a camp of this sucks, and we're not going to go buy jerseys and go to games more than like we need to, like couple games a year. Like, everyone is turning themselves off, and this is the time that either you repay some faith in this organization, people who we're still on Twitter and stuff like, talking about this baseball team. Like, we're putting in time and effort that we probably shouldn't be, but we didn't really choose to go down this path. Like, we love baseball. We're Rockies fans for one reason or another, and here we are. So, like, yeah, it is 100% time that the organization repays that faith, because there's a lot of people here who would come back to being like super fans if there were just even the right things happening. No one needs a playoff team next year, but we need, different processes, and we need to see those processes make an impact on the field. If they win 65 games next year, I think people imagine saying that 65 games makes fans happy. So that would make people happy next year. And that's not going to happen with the current leadership, because we're nosediving. And we were like 20, truly like 20 games off of that. So yeah, I mean, they've got it. And just on the timeline type of thing, like they've got to do it now. Like, as they should have already done it. Like, I know there's the, I love to see the anonymous source stuff. I think ESPN may have reported something like that. Anonymous source is like, what are they doing? Like, I mean, we're in the midst of the worst season in history. Like, I don't want to call this the second worst season in history, because their run differential has not been seen, pre-20th century. Like, think about what was going on in the 1800s. Like, I don't know what was going on in the 1800s. Like, what do the gloves and the bats look like? Like, who knows? I couldn't name a player from the 1800s. That is the last time a team was outscored as much as the Colorado Rockies. Like, this was the worst season in the history of Major League Baseball. Like, 150 plus years of modern, more modern baseball. And here we are, and we still don't have an announcement. I'll say this is kind of my final point for now. Things could be happening behind the scenes. Like they could already, it could be like, all right, Bill, like here's our decision, and they're giving him time to process that before making it public. Like if as long as they're doing something right now, like they've made the decision, they're making a list, they're calling people up. That's okay, but like, why should we expect or believe that is happening? You know,
I think that's what it comes back around to, right? Like we heard they're doing audits. We keep hearing that there's reports that things are changing. And yet like the Rockies are doing the Rockies thing of not sharing. And I think that's where you and I definitely agree on, like all of the writing is on the wall that you are going to make changes. Tell us like what the timeline is, or tell us anything, what's going on. I know that's the very frustration part. Like, right. So I don't know. Like as Isaac says here, you definitely don't want to make Aaron mad, because I have so much weight. My voice carries so much power in the Rockies sphere. You definitely don't want to make me mad. You're right, Isaac. Otherwise, I'll probably tweet something. The month is a wild copium. 100% agree, Jack. That is a wild timeline to have. It needs to be real quick. Let's read your actual comment, though. Jack, thank you for hanging out again. Always fun with the chat going off. Already got Sean and Jack and Isaac, Colton. What up, big dog? We'll get to you in a little bit. But Jack here, Monfort has to learn that to make money, they have to spend money. Make them better by getting rid of bad products, and all of a sudden we can have a top 10, top 5 in attendance ballpark easily. But Tyler, like, isn't attendance good? I thought attendance was good. Are we even worried about attendance?
Yeah, we're not going to go down. Like, and actually, yeah, just as a topic, attendance has not been this low since 2007. And you might hear 2007 and go, oh, that was a great year. It took the 2007 season to make the Rockies like saying they're mainstream is not the right word, but they were getting like 28,000 fans in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Team's not very good. No one really cares all that much. Go to the World Series in 2007. That changes the trajectory of things. Attendance is skyrocketing. Like we all know, people are always at Coors Field, but we're now back down to 2007 levels, like 15 years later, pretty much. More than like almost 20 years later.
Yeah.
We've lost all that progress. So attendance is tanked. And kind of to Jack's point, like now you're not going to make much money because of that at this point. Like things are kind of turning off.
Yeah, still like a top half part of the league in attendance, but attendance is going down for the Colorado Rockies, and that is something you have to be concerned about as a business owner, as a Monfort. Like that has to be something that you have to be worried about. Sean here, go Goats, big dog, always. My hope, they already have some candidates, but they are trying to figure out how to keep Schmidt as a lead scout or something. They'll announce it by Thursday. That's your hope. That is a crazy hope, big dog. This is where I get frustrated with Rockies organizations. And I'm a huge fan of just being a decent human and giving second chances and all that kind of stuff. Billy's got to go. Like, if you are doing anything whatsoever, I think anybody that's in the organization, like manager of the Colorado Rockies, bench coach of the Colorado Rockies at the major league level and in the front office, there has to be some kind of thank you for your time here. I appreciate you. Here's a gift card to Lululemon. I'll see you later. Like that has to be cleared. Minor league coaches and all that stay around. And I'm not just saying that because Meacham's in the chat, but I think it's like you have to change the culture at the big league level. You have to change the culture at the front office level. It has to change, and it has to be a complete gut overhaul. And being in Michigan, I always related to the Detroit Lions. Their turnaround has been absolutely incredible. It's fun to watch. And you see Dan Campbell, he got that leash. He brought in the front office guys. He brought in the right people. And there's this just huge mentality of we're going to bite some kneecaps. But that is the mentality of every single person on that team. Go watch the wide receivers block. Like it's just encapsulated by this is what Dan Campbell's going to bring. And if you're not going to be part of this, see ya. And they've done that. We don't need this. Hey, thank you for your time here. I would like you to be an advisor. Like, I love Clint. I love Clint Hurdle as a person, as a manager, as just an all-around dude. He should not have been in the bench at all this season. Like, thank you for being here. I'll see you later. don't need this here. Again, just nothing against Clint, but the whole idea of just a revamp has to happen, and you have to just make those tough calls, make those tough goodbyes, and say, "See you later, dog." And so, Sean, that's where I'm just going to disagree with you. Like, I don't want Billy or anybody in the front office staying in the front office. Colton Meacham here. You already got the right guy in your system to lead this team. Bobby Meacham is that guy. Dude, I love Bobby. I love watching Bobby coach the guard goats. Like, you see him on third base. You see him, the respect the players give him going around. Like, that's good stuff down in Hartford. I appreciate what he does, and I would like to shake that man's hand and say, yeah, you're getting the call up to AAA. Jack, you got a few things here. Truly scrap everything on the field, coaching-wise, and then a baseball ops guy to handle much of everything office-wise. The drafting hasn't been bad, but the development has been horrendous. Yep, development at the AA, AAA level just it kind of stagnates. Got to show the change before we believe the change is actually happening. 100%. 100%. Wild Innocent. Aaron goes Hulk. There are some moments, yes, but I would never do that to my Colorado Rockies fan. Colorado Rockies. Actually, I might. I don't know. I don't know what my breaking point is, man.
If like 2 weeks down the road nothing's happened, I think Aaron is going Hulk.
I might have it. There might be just an impromptu late night Friday night pod where I just go James. Maybe we just go James on him. How can we go James on him? Take it way back. Milwaukee only outdraws Rockies by an average 1,500 per game, and Rockies have a higher salary. Give me anybody, absolutely anybody from the Milwaukee front office to come fix my team. Give me the Guardians, the Brewers, the Rays, anybody from those front offices. Come hang out in Colorado for 3 to 4 years, and let's turn this around.
Well, I kind of want to take a moment there because, like you're talking about, Milwaukee. If we can get a guy from there, that's chances are that's going to be fantastic because you look at that point exactly. They're not bringing in that many people. Given that they're probably the best team in Major League Baseball when you consider like how they're managed, how they're coached, how they're approaching games. I mean, they were dominant this year completely. They're doing that with a small payroll.
Yep.
The Rockies don't need to suddenly they don't need to get their payroll back up. They need to invest into the front office, get the right people there because those people can lower the cost it takes to go get a win. The Brewers, they're the Rays basically of the National League where they're not spending that much, but they are winning consistently 80, 90 games every single year. The Rays didn't have a great season. I mean, I think when you have like a generational talent who suddenly, is no longer allowed to play in Major League Baseball for good reason, I think that changes how a franchise is going to operate. So the Rays, they kind of fell off a little bit this year. Weird things going on around there, but between them and the Brewers, they don't spend that much money on their MLB roster. They spend a lot of money in their front office. Comparatively, they win a lot of games because of it. You got to play smart.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I mean, you go back to the Rays in the playoffs with Kevin Cash pulling Blake Snell because of analytics and feel and all that backlash that was with it. I want that. I want that discourse, man. Like, I want to be mad at my manager to make a gut reaction and a smart reaction and weigh the pros and cons in a high leverage moment. Give me that every single day. At a certain point that you kind of have to feel like the Dodgers before last year, before they won it, like, hey, we're so good, but yet we can't win it. What are we doing here? That kind of stuff is interesting, but like, just, they are working in the parameters that they have, and they're good. Like, I love Isaac Collins. He's a Colorado Rockies draft pick. He was a 9th round Colorado Rockies draft pick in 2019. Pretty much cast away, and the Milwaukee Brewers turned him into a Rookie of the Year candidate this year. He's 28 years old, just turned 28. Went to Creighton. Go big, Nebraska. So I like him in that sense. But the Brewers turned him into something this year. Didn't draft him, but they developed that motherfucker. Like, then that's really cool. What have the Rockies done with a 9th round draft pick? Sure, we got Jordan Beck, first compensation pick. Brenton Doyle was a 5th round. Mickey Moniak was a 1st round. Tovar international free signing. Kyle Karros was a 5th round. Like, we're kind of stagnant around that 5th round. We need those depth pieces showing up. And again, we already talked about the draft and development piece of it. It started to, I was good 2 years ago. Yeah, no, give it time. The Rockies are doing something right? They're developing. You see all this, and then Albuquerque hits, and then they get to the big leagues, and Kyle Karras is pretty much like the only one that really came up and kind of feels like he can hold his own after the first 100, 200 plate appearances in a major league career. Didn't really feel that way about Jordan Beck. Didn't really feel that way about Michael Toglia. Didn't really feel that way about Adele Amador. That like they get the call up. Shoot, I didn't feel that way about Hunter Goodman, but I think I did. But I was mad at the Rockies because I felt like they screwed him up. And here they finally let him do what he was supposed to do, and he turned into something. And I know I'm ranting, and appreciate y'all just following along with me here, but like I don't know, it's that kind of stuff, man. Like maybe it is Hulk. It might turn into Hulk by the end of this podcast. I don't know. It's just frustrating. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that you kind of hit the nail on the head in terms of just getting guys from the minors to the big leagues, from the lower minors to the upper minors. And unfortunately, you might have to look in the mirror and think that like you're going to need 5 years, 4 years at least to just, I mean, some of the guys that are in the system, they're going to pan out. And I've always been a believer that like, yeah, if player development sucks, you're not going to get as many hits. But like these guys are all still individuals, and they're going to put in the work, and some of them are going to pan out. Yes. I think in part that's a big reason the Rockies have ever had any success, because there's individual will. Like Trevor Story, Nolan Arenado, those guys came through at a time the Rockies front office. I mean, end of the O'Dowd era, beginning of the Bridich era. I think those guys, it was all self-determined. Like, oh, I'm going to be great. Rockies need some of that stuff to be relevant, and that's just. You cannot depend on like a Kobe Bryant type of talent to come around, where it's like, oh, that guy just lives in the gym, you know. But kind of the point I'm getting at is you might need to cycle through an entire like set of players at this point. Like you might need all guys who were who are not drafted by Bill Schmidt, by this current front office, by the previous one, to figure it out. Because I think these guys in the lower minors, they've got to learn different processes. And I think we're doing a better job nowadays. Like in Fresno, they have resources down there to help these guys get ready. But ultimately, I mean, you look at every other team. We were talking about this in the group chat a couple of days ago, the Detroit Tigers, and looking at their prospects and the way that farm system is trended. Like, yeah, they have great talent, but clearly someone is talking to those guys and changing the way they're approaching the game. Like they have created an abundance of elite prospects. Those a lot of those guys were not expected to be elite prospects. Like think about Kevin McGonigal, and I think he was an amazing talent coming into pro baseball. That guy's the number 2 prospect in baseball right now. I think he was a second round draft pick a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. That comes from, hey, we're sculpting these players. We're giving them ways to think about the game, how to prepare. And that's clearly in the player development side of the Rockies, like everything that's lacking. You might need years to like cycle things through, because I love our guys at the big league level, but like if we even get new guys at the major league level to help them prepare, help them strategize, are they going to be able to implement that in game as well as other organizations? I mean, I think a bit, but maybe not entirely. And I mean, that's a disappointing reality. I don't know if it's 100% true. I think there's truth to that. You know, we unfortunately kind of screwed a lot of guys by not doing what other organizations are doing to get them from 18 years old or 21 years old whenever they were drafted to the big leagues. You know, kind of left them on their own a little too much.
Exactly. Yeah. And 100% agree. McGonigal was a compensation round pick, 37th overall a few years back. But there's that. Yeah, it's just the idea of it. Jack, we will never turn into a Tigers pod officially. There's already a great minor league follow. If you do want to follow the Tigers minor league, Tigers ML recap or something is out there. Look them up. They're great guys and they work hard. Started very similar to how we did, but he just puts in the work. Rogelio does. So go follow them. Colton, appreciate the love, fellas. My dad made it clear that he wants to be part of the solution. He is in this to make change on the big league level. Nobody hates losing more than my dad. Change is coming. Let's fucking go. See, I'll run through a wall for Colton or Bobby and Colton.
And Bobby.
Yeah, Colton, you can be my mini Hulk, and I'll run through the wall with you, and we'll just go give your dad a high five and a hug, and just say, let's go do this, right? Tampa Bay president Matt Silverman and Brian Old have chosen to step down from the current roles as part of the Cubs' pending sale. What do you know about these two, Tyler? I don't know anything about these guys. I don't know if you do, but you're smart. I'm not. So what do you know?
I mean, I think Matt, I didn't realize two guys had stepped down. I think it's Matt Silverman sort of started a big part of this era for the Rays of we're going to become the smartest organization. Like, he went through their baseball operations department. Eventually you spend enough time there that they're like, okay, well, we're going to promote you to team president. We're like, now he has oversight over whoever's fully leading baseball. So, I mean, that dude climbed through the ranks. The Rays have probably been the second best team in baseball the last, maybe third behind the Yankees too. Like, third best team in baseball the last 15, 20 years. And he was around for basically all of that. I think it makes sense to not want to be around anymore if a lot's going to change.
Yeah.
You're the team president, and suddenly everything's going to change, above you. Like, there's really nothing above you. And so if that's going to, I can understand him wanting to walk away. I don't know that those guys, if we're bringing them up in the context that maybe they're candidates for the Rockies, probably too big a fish, honestly. I don't think the Rockies are going to go a route like that where they bring in someone who, frankly, would be, has the background and the resume to be like, you have to listen to me, that kind of way. Yeah. Where it's like, I led that team for a decade plus. Like, you have to, like, I don't think the Rockies will quite go for that level of authority. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to say that, but they're going to go for someone who, like, is going to work within the confines. And I don't think that's a guy who, like, knows what it's like to be, above the clouds, pretty much. Yeah. They're looking for someone who wants to stay, at mile high.
You just made me sad. Yeah. I didn't really think about, we want these front office changes, right? We want new personnel, but, like, there still is the guy leading the charge at the top, and how much meddling we all know that he loves to do. How much leash does he give the new regime how to do these kind of things? Like, is Mr. Dick Monfort in those meetings say, this is where your leash goes? You can go up to this point, and then this is where I need to, quote unquote, step in. As opposed to, you know what? New regime, we're doing this all over. I'm going to stay out of the way. I'm going to help. I'm going to trust my son Walker doing his thing. And we're just going to try to do this 100% differently. Now, the ego in a human being, especially the ego with a major league owner, doesn't really lean to the fact that, like, hey, I will step away 100% and just kind of keep my hands off of this. To your point, I don't see Mr. Dick Monfort doing that. And I think that makes me mad. I think I'm turning a slight shade of green with that, because I don't think I thought about that till right now. And that's scary.
Well, and one thing to kind of hopefully bring the green back down is in some ways that like, it makes sense. Like, other organizations would probably do similar things. Like, it would be tough to bring in, like, you kind of have to bring in someone who's impressionable, and to put, like, a title on it. The Rockies are going to likely hire, if this all goes down, of course, we're assuming that they're going to likely hire someone's assistant general manager to the general manager role. Those guys, with someone like Silverman and all, like, those guys were team presidents. Like, they are Walker Monfort's, Greg Fiesel's, like, it's hard to bring a guy like that into, you definitely can't bring them down a role. Like, those guys might look for a team unless it's just, like, the right situation. So they're going to look for an assistant general manager to make that jump to GM. An assistant general manager, in part, like, there's 30 jobs, 30 like lead decision-making roles in Major League Baseball. Those guys are going to swallow some pills. It's going to be a tough pill to swallow sometimes working for the Rockies. Some of them are going to be willing to do that because it means I'm going to be a guy like leading the charge. And that's, I think we can all understand that. That's sort of the goal. So they're still going to be able to get a quality candidate, but there's certain people who are a little bit too qualified for where the Rockies are going to be. Like, you couldn't go and hire some team's general manager and make them the president of baseball ops, because I think, again, that'd be too much of like a ripple within the organization. There's still a huge chance to make change, but unfortunately, it does have to be within the confines of like, this is going to be a little bit of a slower process.
Which scares me because history says that doesn't go well. Because remember when we had the head of analytics from somebody like 2-3 years ago, and we were like, yes, let's go. And dude, man, quit like a month in or something.
That's in some ways, that's like a day of reckoning. And because it was Scott Van Lenten, came from Washington. They had won the World Series, I believe, a year or 2 years prior to that. And clearly, he ran into obstacles. And I think he would have been the guy to head change, not even in a general manager type role, but just with I've done this before. You guys are 10 years behind where you need to be. Let's try to catch up. And that was not happening. And I can say, and I've talked to some members of the front office, and I'm obviously not going to name names. They have all kind of said similar things, even the ones that are happily, I don't know how happily, but happily working there. It's kind of the same narrative though, of like, things don't get to happen the way you want them to.
Yeah.
You sort of have to accept there's like limitations on resources. There's limitations on the amount of change that can go down. And you would hope that is now something that is also going to change. Like, at some point there's got to be more walls pushed down. That you can't continue to like have someone at the top saying to someone in the middle who's really able to like know how to make things better to like limit them. Like, that can't happen. And we've talked about like the audit a little bit. Like, if there really has been hey, tell me what I'm doing, what we are doing wrong, that has to come up of like, hey, you've got to let the guys do their jobs. So, and give them a little bit more opportunity, more money to run things. So that's a bit of a spiel there, but I think an important point that had to be made today.
Yeah, 100%. Just because we get, that's a lot. Back to the comment section. Burge, 40 minutes ago. Hopefully you're still there. Finally get into your comments before we even start the show. Always appreciate that. I have not read all these, so we're just going to go through them live. I'm in disbelief over the lack of anything being announced. Dick or Walker had since May to evaluate his organization and figure out what needs to be done. The Nationals fired their manager and GM at the All-Star break and at least had a president of baseball ops in place at the end of the year. I thought the Nolan trade was bad, but this is so much worse. Ooh. Apparently, a component of Dick Mumford's business plan is fan apathy. Bird just went off right there. There we go. I don't know. One really can't be a baseball fan in Denver and solely root for the Rockies. You have to treat it as a mutual fund or an ETF where you root for multiple different clubs. I don't think he's wrong. He might be onto something there. Like, if I'm obviously not in Denver. I'm not around the ballpark. I'm not around the city, and so I kind of get it from an outside perspective. But like, if you're all up in it, you can't be tuning into 162 Rockies games. Like, you just can't be. You have to find a team that you like to watch: the Tigers, the Mariners, the Blue Jays, any of that. That's interesting. But like, do we agree with this comment? I thought the Nolan trade was bad, but this is so much worse.
I mean, I like 100% agree with that, actually. Like, the Nolan trades, like, I remember that night, like, that I like couldn't sleep that night when that trade got announced. Like, that was terrible. I think a few days later, though, you were like, okay, we still have some pretty good players. If they made the right decisions in that return, which they didn't, that could help out this team. Like, it's gonna sting, but we're not in the ground right now. We are currently, like, we're below ground right now. After the Nolan trade, it sucked, and it felt like, we probably just screwed ourselves. We might not be able to win for a long time. We have nosedived since then. Like, the Nolan trade was like, oh, all right, we're like maybe losing some control here. We have nosedived for 3 years, and part of that's because of the Nolan trade, but Nolan might not have been here regardless of that trade happening or not. So
Right.
we're removed enough now. Yes, they could have gotten a better return. They could have done a lot of things differently, but like we are removed enough from that Nolan trade that it is like a lot of other decisions that had nothing to do with that are the reason that we just lost 119 games. And we're sitting here like, okay, so when is something going to happen as a result of those 119 games that were lost in the 350 something, whatever it is, the last 3 years, 320 something? I don't know. When is something going to happen? I think that is far, far worse.
Agreed. 100% agreed. And I think the fact, like, we didn't really have a history in the Colorado Rockies organization of a big time trade like the Nolan Arenado trade. Like, we kind of had that with Tulo and Ubaldo and all that, but not like Nolan type levels. Where now we have 5 years of a track record of just bad stuff. And I think that also kind of feeds into the Hulk in all of us coming out of like, hey, this is what this has been like. This is what we know isn't working. Yeah, here we are. The Nolan trade is like, yeah, whatever. We kind of make sense of it. We're still mad. Nolan didn't want to be here. He barely wants to be in St. Louis. Like, I don't know. That's a whole nother conversation. I won't get into it. But Wildly Innocent, good question. Again, I'm not smart enough to answer this. I don't know who the minority ownerships belong to, but do the minority ownership ever break ranks and start calling out Monfort? I feel like you would have by now. I just like, if I'm in a group of people and I kind of know where I'm sitting in my rank and all that kind of thing, at a certain point, you're going to hit your breaking point and you're going to say something sooner or later. Now, is there a coup? Like, do I start talking to Tyler and Noah and Lewis to get James out of here? I don't know. I don't know if I'm starting that kind of coup as a minority, but I don't know. I feel like, is it just talking to deaf ears at a certain point? Also, like, is there apathy at the front office level and the ownership level and all that? I gotta imagine like the frustration has to be hitting the minority owners, especially when you see attendance going down and payrolls going up and blah, blah, blah. Like, you have to be saying something at some point. Like, that's your money.
Yeah, the one I can say for certain that like there's like minority ownership that is not. I mean, how could you not be unhappy like that? I think that's almost an assumption. That's 100% the case. Like minority owners, like some of them I know are not happy, but I don't know what the dynamics are within this ownership group. What the ownership shares are like. If you're a 1% owner in this, I think you're just along for the ride.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the dynamics are to be able to say like, or what options really you even have available to you. This isn't like a traditional, in like a corporation, there would be things you could do. This is not a corporation. I think it's like a partnership. I don't know what the Rockies structure is. So I don't know if there's really opportunities for them to do anything besides creating a rift, and that rift might not do anything. So there might, even if there's a stink, who knows if it leads to anything other than the guy wanting to sell their shares. But
yeah, it's a good question though. Jack, I think you missed our conversation a little bit earlier. We'll forgive you. We'll be okay. If it's not today, then when's your guys' personal deadline for the firings and changes? Mine is by 1:00 before the first playoff game. Go Tigers hits today in 2 hours. I think we need to hear something. Otherwise, my shade of green gets a little bit darker and darker. I think I become full-time Hulk if it's not announced by the end of the wild card round. Like, it needs to be done. What that would be Friday, right? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So. Yeah, Thursday. I will give Friday until Thursday midnight Eastern time before like I think I'm officially Hulk mad. It's, again, we've just been talking about it. You can go back in the last 30 minutes and listen to us, but I think that's where my timeline is and why.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm on the exact same wavelength, and really for me, it is like I want to see it today, tomorrow, Thursday. Like, the sooner the better. But really, it is by Friday. If that's not done, I mean, I don't even really care if you do it at that point. You have just kind of turned the fans off completely, but B, if they were like, I kind of made a point at the beginning, like, maybe they have done some things behind the scenes. I think we would know they were like making calls to people at this point, because that would have been leaked. I think that would have been leaked at this point if they, Bill Schmidt had been, let go. He resigned. He moved somewhere else, like, or at least that's what's going to happen, and they knew that. Like, they'd be making calls, and I think one of those calls sort of things would have gotten leaked. So it sort of says they haven't begun that process yet, because I would be okay if, like, okay, you do it Friday, but you've already laid the groundwork. If they've laid the groundwork, I think it really is only internally, and that doesn't really do you it's better than doing nothing. Again, that's kind of even giving them the benefit of the doubt. Like, they might be still figuring things out right now. And that's just, that can't be. So I think it's got to happen today. That would be ideal. If it's not by Friday, you're like, we said at the beginning, the Nationals already hired a guy. They're going to start hiring people underneath that guy before the Rockies have even hired their a new guy or made a decision. And the way that the baseball season works, these hirings happen now. They happen now because once it's the end of the playoffs, like, you have to be ready to execute a plan. So you don't get to bring in a whole lot of new guys at that point. Like, you bring people in, it's kind of sad. They're like during the playoffs. Like, you might strip some guys from their playoff team. And I mean, some of the baseball ops guys aren't going to be super important during the playoffs. Like, a lot of that is like a grand scheme type of work they get to do. It's not like day to day as much. But you've got to make those hires now. You don't get to do that at the end of the playoffs, because at that point you have to be ready to ground running. Like, what is our plan? What are we doing in a couple of weeks when it's the non-tender deadline and free agency opens up? Like,
I forgot.
What are we doing? You have to be super. I try to keep this pod PG, which we don't. But you've got to be fucking ready at that point. And they're far. You need 2 months to get ready for the offseason at least. We're already cutting that off, so it's got to happen as soon as possible.
Yeah. You're every second wasted is cutting into whatever the next deadline thing is, whatever that might be, and that's frustrating. Yeah. Oh, all right. Let's switch gears a little bit. It's kind of in the same vein. The manager. And I don't think this is definitely not going to be a conversation. Who should manage the Colorado Rockies next? Because I think that's just a waste of everybody's time for what we just been talking about for the last 45 minutes. But we had a very interesting conversation in the BSB chat about the position battles, Warren Schaefer answering those position battle conversations, and should he even be talking about position battles next year? And so that's where we're at. So the quote was Warren Schaefer was asked about, I don't know if he was asked, but he was quoted to be talking about the position battles for next year. There's a position battle at first base. There's a position battle at second base. And I believe starting pitcher were the three positions that he said that there's a battle for, which I don't know. Might be another conversation. We'll see where this one goes. And, but the conversation led to, should Warren Schaefer, the interim manager, it has nothing against Warren being Warren, just the interim manager of a franchise, should he be answering questions about next year? One of us said, like, yeah, he's supposed to answer it the way you're supposed to. Like, you have the job next year. You could do that. Tyler disagreed with me. How should he have responded to that? Are we mad that he responded the way that he did? Blah, blah, blah. Let's just banter.
I mean, I'm not mad. I think it's odd. It would have been different if, this is a 65-win team. Bad season. Warren Schaefer maybe helped to like stabilize the culture. I generally liked what Schaefer did. Like, there were signs initially when he started that it's like, okay, maybe this guy, there's something to this guy. I like him a lot. I think he's a very well spoken, very level headed, but also like passionate guy. I really like him. I don't know how, in the midst of, again, the worst season in baseball history, you as the interim manager can sort of do that like assumption of, oh, I'm going to work my way into this job. Like I really like the guy, and I wish the circumstances were better. I think he did something to actually help. Like they probably would have had the worst record also in Major League Baseball if they didn't fire Bud Black.
Could you imagine? I know this is tangent, but could you imagine if we spent 162 games with Bud Black at the Realm?
I think we would have won 39 games or something like that.
That would have been so bad.
But like I don't take offense. I do find it odd though, again, in the midst of this, as the interim manager, and he didn't say like, oh, I'm gonna be here. I think what he said kind of applies no matter what. But it sort of is as if he's assuming the same players are gonna be here. Like the Rockies could go, trade for a first baseman, and end that. Like, they're not gonna sign Pete Alonso, but like they go sign Pete Alonso, that competition doesn't exist anymore. Like I feel like him saying that is sort of things are gonna go on as usual. It just, there's a lot of like weirdness about it. And I'm not saying he's weird. I'm just saying with the context of everything that's happened, I think it's weird to even talk about 2026 without knowing like where we're going to go.
Yeah. And I think that's where I came about around to it, right? It goes all about the no communication piece over the last whatever months we can go back for. And so like you're having this conversation about next year with a coach that's the interim title, and you just don't know, right? I would have liked him to say, you know what? I don't know where I'm supposed to be next year. I don't really want to speak out on what positions are there, who's where, who's what, because I don't know where I'm going to be. So I'm just going to keep it hush hush. I know I love my players. I know I love my guys. I'm going to be rooting for them, whether I'm the manager in this clubhouse with them, or if I'm an advisor, or if I'm down in Tampa Bay doing whatever. I will root for and love my dudes as much as I possibly can, but I don't really, really want to comment on that because I don't know where I'm supposed to be, and I just really want to focus on me right now. It's like I would have liked that, like kind of pushing your chips all in at the front office. Like, yo, you need to make a decision. Am I coming back or not? Is it, or is him answering it the way he did? Is that him hinting that he is getting the call next year? Is he getting that call because he is answering that question about next year? I don't know. He's a rookie manager, interim manager. You like how he kind of talked to the media, but you can tell he's raw when he talked to the media. There's that little bit piece to it. So I don't know if he was necessarily thinking that way. Again, not trying to put words or anything in his mouth. Just kind of, we're just bantering about what we hear. So I don't know. It's interesting. Just with all the question marks that is the Rockies and the Rockies front office and everything that is under that, the fact that we're even talking about position battles is a thing. And then the fact that there's only 3 position battles is a whole nother thing. I don't know. It's weird. Like you said, it's weird.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of it too. They're clearly at almost every position. Like you got to throw third base into the mix. I think one of the outfield spots maybe is or the DH. It's kind of that in that outfield DH bullpen. I mean, the bullpen I think is always a little bit of a battle, but the fact that it was more limited to like, here are the 3, it felt a little bit too concrete for me when like, as you kind of said, like the opposite side of this coin could be, hey, I don't know where I'm going to be. I think, I don't really point it at him.
Yeah, it's not at him at all.
It's sort of like just what is like going on here. Like why are these questions being answered though? And kind of why are they being asked? Like, are we real? Like, I don't want to put it on the media because like it's hard enough to cover this team, but like I don't think the 2026 position battles are like important at all right now.
At all.
And I know you can't ask Warren Schaefer like, so what's going to happen like with this organization? Like, but still, that was an odd thing. Seeing those, like, we don't get any sort of insight from the Rockies. That's the big thing too. It's not just, oh, Warren Schaefer's like giving his takes. We don't get takes like that, like really, period. We're at this point in the season, we're getting transparency. Like we've had a 40-minute conversation about the lack of transparency in this organization. Right. So that's the part that also makes it odd. Weird. And again, not on Warren, but I think
Taylor kind of is saying what we're saying, right? We know how much say Bud Black had in team management decisions. Schaefer's comments definitely worries me that they're already letting him make those decisions and no changes will be made. I think there is a little bit to that. And honestly, I would like my manager and my GM talking every single day about what's next. I've referred to it plenty of times. The Detroit Tigers did that last year. Like, they met, this is what our plan is. This is who we have. Let's figure out how we can work with these guys. And you trust that because they've been transparent about what those conversations look like and how they are managing the team, right? Like, we all know, like, all Tigers fans know where everybody sits in the organization. But that's a conversation that goes along with it, as opposed to like the Rockies, especially with Bud, like, hey, we need Zach Veen up. No, Bud says, I'm good. I don't want Zach Veen on my team. That purple hair and that vibe. And I just don't want that on my squad. And you feel that like the front office is like, no, we're good. And that might come from Mr. Dick Monfort up above. Like, hey, we're going to trust Bud on all personnel because he's managed the team. Billy, sorry, you push it. You can have that conversation, but whatever Bud wants, he gets in the end. Could be it. I don't think Warren gets that. Any interim coach would get that kind of leash to kind of combat Taylor's point. But it's the idea that there's not a communication between the front office and the manager of the team and it's becoming like a cohesive unit, makes me worried a little bit, which I don't know. Like, there's no way Warren had that much leash with front off 26-man roster decisions.
I mean, now I think he probably gets input, like, to, he probably talks to Bill Schmidt daily or almost every day. And like, that's just the duties of the manager, is to be like, I say like, oh, I think we need to shuffle something here. But like, definitely didn't have the Bud Black influence.
No.
And yeah.
Like, whose call do you think it was to call up Warming Bernabel?
There's probably I bet Warren had familiarity with him.
Yeah.
I bet Warren like approved that. I think managers kind of get to approve a lot of stuff. As sort of a formality, but I think that was a Bill Schmidt decision to be like, do we have anything with this guy who Bill Schmidt, if he's thinking like it's 2022, 2021, Warming Bernabel is still kind of like very high in their minds. Obviously probably deserved an opportunity. He has made the most of it, but I think that was probably a Bill Schmidt, like, can we turn something here?
Let's figure something out. Yeah, I agreed. Jack, we were having this conversation also. I was thinking about a series, whether it's a podcast series or written series. I'm throwing this at Tyler right now as well, is a WTF series. What the fuck happened to Drew Romo? What the fuck happened to Zach Veen? WTF, blah, 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 insert player name. What the Rockies have done to Drew Romo these last 2 seasons, and we can throw Zach Veen into that, is mind-boggling. Yes, mind-boggling. Taking an anchor man up in there. It's incredible. The fact they called Drew Romo up and only gave that man 3 at-bats when Hunter Goodman, clearly catcher number 1, long season. Dude man should have been DH in all of September, like 3 out of 7 games. Like, it shouldn't be playing as much catcher he should have been. Drew Romo, Braxton Fulford should have been playing catcher 2 games a week each at minimum. Yet he got called up for a month, 3 at-bats, and got sit back down for, I don't even know, what was it, Krim? When Krim came up, Romo went down, something like that.
It might have been actually,
I don't even know,
when
man.
Bernabel came off the injured list.
Yeah. Like, Jack, I agree. Like, that's weird.
I mean, it was just a classic kind of Rockies decision. And the good thing is, you're in this position, you can make decisions like that where, okay, it doesn't hurt to have him on, like, just be around the big league team.
He had that last year though, Tyler.
A little bit, but like, just to hang
around
around and not have the pressure of, because he is a guy with a past of performance anxiety, like, and he definitely opened up about that recently with the throwing thing. Like, he's had some, he feels pressure. I mean, every player does. Right. I think it was probably not the worst thing. Like, there is at least a positive side to it, to him being on the roster, being around the guys, and not knowing, oh, I might play today, I might play tomorrow, I don't know. Like, it was sort of like, all right, you like aren't gonna play. I think there's at least a slight positive there, but it is a classic Rockies thing of like, thinking that there's a ton of value to be had in like these intangible things, when it's like you're not going to get as much better by sitting there watching, learning, as you are going to get the experience playing. So I don't think it was a good decision by any means. And
No.
again, yeah.
We'll leave it at that. Taylor, you certainly want a cohesive unit. And Warren getting the job is fine, but not at least performance search is a problem. And I think the search for the manager comes with the new regime. I think whoever comes in as the new GM, we're all just assuming Billy's gone. You have Mr. Walker and Mr. New GM, whatever, having a conversation. All right, is Warren the guy? Do we bring an outside source? What are we doing? There has to be a search, but I think that is announced. That happens when it's announced that there's changes, which again goes back to this needs to happen now so we can start interviewing these players and these people and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. Should they be searching now? No, I really don't think they should be searching now because of the impeding changes that are happening with the people that need to be it. Jack, if you wanted a guy to hang around, then Zach Veen could have been the dude for at least for the ability to be a pinch runner rather than riding the airplane Bud Black style, or Braden Ward for the same reasoning. Give me Braden Ward on a bench all the day, every single day, because that man's just going to have fun in the dog days of September. He would have been much better suited to just hanging out with the dudes in Colorado than Drew Romo. I don't know. Braden Ward doesn't seem to know what pressure is or what expectations are. Like, he's out there to play, and that's fine. Well, Taylor, would any of us be surprised if they announced Warren as the manager before getting a new GM, though?
I mean, that's a funny question because you could think about it in a couple of ways. Like,
right?
Are we surprised based on the Rockies' past conduct? No. Like, if that was to happen, but like based on what has happened, I would be. That would just be one of those things where you're speechless and it's sort of like, all right, this does not matter anymore. So it depends on how you look at that. It's a funny question.
Dude, if Warren, again, no offense to Warren, but if Schaefer is announced as the manager and then like the next day announce the firing of Billy Schmidt and a new hiring, that would be classic Rockies. And I don't even know I don't know how to respond to that. Like, if they actually just switched it around.
I mean, yeah, you need to. They
that
need to get like a new leader, and that leader needs to pick the manager. Like,
100%.
And I would love it if Warren was comfortable. Like, they're going to be able to play some favorites here, like the ownership group, which includes Walker Monfort now. And one thing I'm thinking, like, I don't want to jump fully back into the whole front office.
Let's get back into it.
Rolando Fernandez, who is the director of the international side.
Yeah,
I think he's like an invaluable piece of the franchise. Like, they invested so much into the Dominican facility, like everything going on there. They do a decent job on that front. It's sort of like, I wouldn't want him to leave. And if you hire a new guy, I think it just signals like, are you going to get rid of everybody? I think someone like Rolando Fernandez is a guy you'd have to keep. And frankly, I would want them to try to keep Warren Schaefer around in some capacity.
Yeah.
Like, assistant hitting coach so that he can also coach the infield. Or is that, just sending him to AAA, which he probably wouldn't be super happy about. Although seems like a grinder dude. He'd be willing to, familiar spot on the doorstep to maybe become a bench coach or something like that. But it needs to just be full decision discretion placed with whoever they hire, and that would irk me more than them saying like, oh, Warren's not coming back and keeping Bill Schmidt, like, because that would just be so backwards in so many ways.
I'm going to say it now. I will quit Blake Street Banter if that happens.
I'll join you.
If Billy comes back and Warren's gone, I quit. I think I think that's my breaking point. I think we just found my breaking point. If that's what happens this offseason, I don't know if I'm a Rockies fan anymore. Like, you've taken this much. You've taken 30 years from me. Like, I don't know. I don't know if you can do it at another 30, because that would just be absolutely insane after this offseason or the season that we've had. It'd be incredible.
Well, yeah, I think there's a couple of those scenarios that could play out where it's sort of like, I've said it a couple of times, like, what's the point anymore? It's just either way you do that. Like, I again love Warren. I want him to stick in the organization somehow. That would be a situation though where it's like, all right, we're just continuing to like do things so tragically wrong and
constantly over and over and over. That'd be terrible. All right, we're at the hour mark. We've bantered quite a bit. It wouldn't be a Blake Street Banter with Tyler or Aaron if we didn't talk a little bit of minor leagues. So we're each going to give you our biggest surprise prospect. I'll go first because I kind of sprung this on you just right now. The season we're following, we start still working on our top 50 prospect list slowly and surely as we continue to write and figure out all of our time management skills as we keep going. But biggest surprise, it can be good or bad. However you want to go with it. My guy, though, he's been my guy for a few years right now. It is not Roldy Brito, but he is everybody's new favorite international prospect. I think he's taken over Colaz. He's taken over Dion Jorge. I think it's Roldy Brito season all the time now in Colorado Rockies fandom. But my guy is Sterling Thompson. He went under the radar. I know our guys, Isaac and Lewis, talked about him pretty much every pod when they were doing the Road to Blake Street throughout the season pretty regularly. But Dewman had a solid season. 117 WRC plus at Albuquerque, which you kind of want that a little bit higher. But what really impressed me is him raising his walk rate 2% and lowering his strikeout rate 3%. So from AA to AAA, usually we don't see that. Usually it goes up. Each of them go crazy high, and it's not like a very cohesive number. So his walk rate was 10%. His strikeout rate was 20% last season. Had a 519 slug with a 296 batting average, almost a 400 OBP, which is insane compared to his 319 OBP at AA. Like we talked a little bit about the drafting and then actually developing, and they hit this AA plateau. Sterling Thompson kind of crushed that a little bit. Like, again, we don't see it very often where they just struggle at AA and then come up at AAA. It's usually the struggles continue at that next level. So 120 games played, also longevity, able to grind through it all. Sterling Thompson is my prospect of the year for the Colorado Rockies in the 2025.
It's tough for me to settle on one and looking at guys. I think I'll settle on one and then I'll throw in a couple other guys that I want to shout out. I'm going to go with Jackson Cox, which might be a little bit of an under the radar. A lot of it comes down to coming back from Tommy John, doing it as a kid with like no experience prior to Tommy John, comes into the pros. Like he's a little bit older now. He's 22 years old now. Just kind of, it's crazy that he was drafted as a high schooler, pitched 31 innings, and now he's 22 years old. Like I don't know where the time went. But he had a 3.39 ERA in low A this year. Again, that was almost like his first full go at pro baseball, and he did a really, really good job. He limited walks, which I was unsure how that would go. He only had 25 walks in 85 innings. Not a huge, sample there, but I think he proved him that he can be a major league pitcher. I don't know what role that'll take. I mean, he has the curveball to be in a big league bullpen at some point. And so seeing the other things line up, that he's getting ahead in counts to miss bats, get strikeouts, and also limiting walks, I think that deserves a major shout out, and might have been the brightest pitching prospect on the farm. But I'll throw two other guys out there that I'll say three that really, really shine on the pitching side. Beef Wellington, of course, 2.64 ERA, which kind of climbed at the end of the season. I think he was getting tired.
Yeah.
I think he had like a sub 2 ERA for 70% of the season, maybe even sub 1 for half the season. So it climbed up there, but I mean, he's so good. I want to see him in the bullpen next year, regardless of what's going on. Want to shout out Fidel Ulloa, who was I think he's eighth round 2024 out of LSU. dude was probably the second best relief prospect that we had in the system this year. 2.47 ERA, a 34% strikeout rate. Like that's money. And then the guy I almost picked over Jackson Cox is McCade Brown.
Yeah.
I leaned Cox
You?
because Cox didn't get to the big leagues this year. Like, I think McCade kind of it speaks for himself. It speaks for itself that he got to the big leagues. And very similar to Cox, where coming back from he was basically down for 2 years, McCade Brown. He comes back, 2.47 ERA in the minors, 34% strikeout rate as a starter. And yeah, goes from high to the big leagues. Kind of pulls a Ryan Feltner. I think he has a very similar kind of projection as a Ryan Feltner.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good way to end the pod. It's sort of like, yeah, Ryan Feltner is out there somewhere and we all forgot about him. And I hope that whatever happens next with this organization, Ryan Feltner is found and that he's doing well.
He seemed frustrated on
Yeah.
the socials. You dove into his socials on his stories. There was some underlining. Oh, are we sure he's okay with where he is in the organization right now? Which was interesting. But Wellington Herrera, I had to look it up. He had through July 30th, he had a 1.44 ERA. And then he had one bad outing, which skyrocketed above to 2, but went 40, 65 innings again, back-to-back years of going 65 plus. But yeah, Wellington Herrera will be part of the Rockies bullpen next year. That's it. That's our off-season pod. We'll see you in February when spring training.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Maybe. No, I kind of want to just take a moment to talk to anyone who's actually still in the live. But if anyone listens to this later on, this is tough. Like a lot of us we put in a lot of time and effort here. Like we're sitting here for an hour and you're going to do some stuff to get this posted. Thank you to everybody who's sticking around. Like this is not easy. It's weird. I've thought about it recently. I'm like, it's weird that my baseball team like absolutely provides zero value to my life. And normally it provides a lot. Like honestly, my teenage years, I loved following baseball so much. Like, and that, that's the reason I'm here. Teenage years, I'm like looking at box scores every day. I'm watching, a lot of games and stuff. And now those were my best years with baseball, as a fan at least. And it's a shame that we're here right now and that kind of value isn't there. And so again, thanks to everybody for sticking around. I hope for all of our sakes that we can get that value back in our lives. Like watching baseball as sort of just like a general fan is not as fun. So I want to have that real attachment back into the league of like the Rockies. We're playing meaningful games into September. Like we might not make the playoffs, but like, man, it's fun to have 70, 75 wins in September and just like have it actually feel like a meaningful game. So fingers crossed for all of us. And again, thanks for being here with us.
Yeah, I probably should say thank you too. We usually do that around now. Wasn't our best season content wise. Part of it because of the Colorado Rockies being the Rockies, but honestly, for me, it was just the time and all of that goes into this as we try to make it bigger. We just weren't ready for that at this capacity. We thought we were going to get a little bit extra help at different parts, but that didn't work the way it was supposed to. But just the fact that people are still tuning in, Taylor, Jack, Little Meacham, etc., all of you all just hanging out with us is 100% fantastic. The fact that we're still able to get prospects and still be relevant enough to have people come on the pod like Connor Eaton, fantastic interview. Go listen to that banner session. Like it's that kind of stuff that continues to make it. Seeing our very first interview of a story that everybody should love and embrace in Dugan Darnell making his debut this year kind of made it full circle, right? We had our Winston Bernard story. He came on our pod and he became one of our dudes. And we see other guys right? We had Jordan Beck and Seth Halverson. We had Zach Agnos before Zach Agnos was there. Hunter Goodman was on here before he was a pro. All that is really cool, but nothing topped Dugan Darnell making his debut for me this season. And that is very personal to me. And just starting this in my basement to where we are now is incredible. And so just the fact that 4 of you are still hanging out with us. We had 10 of you on live, and maybe 6 of you will send it to your moms, and we double our listens. It doesn't matter. The fact that we are still just me and Tyler still have yet to meet in person, but know that we are able just to talk rocks and banter back and forth and disagree, but agree and push each other. Just, I don't know. It's that kind of stuff that makes baseball fun. The beauty of baseball is bringing all the fandom and friendships together. I won my fantasy league back-to-back years in my home league, absolutely dominated fools, and I love talking shit to my friends about that. And I don't know, that's what baseball is supposed to be about. And huge shout out to Sean and I think it's Jacob who got first and second in the BSB league, which was a fun league. I don't know. It's just like when you said my baseball team doesn't bring me happiness anymore, that it's true. It sucks, but it still allows us to bring us together, a community together, just making some kind of connections. Introducing you to your new favorite minor leaguer has always been something I've always appreciated. People loving Aaron Schunk and Hunter Stovall and Coco Montez. Like, my son has a Coco Montez card because we were able to get one, and we sent it to him, and Coco signed it for us. And my son has that card on his desk, like, just because. And we listened to Chase Dolender talk to us, and my son loves that. He's like, that guy? The fact that Chase, number 1 prospect in the system, talked to us. I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I will never take that for granted. And none of that happens without you, Tyler, without the mics down below, like the writing team. I don't know. It's all that. And then just Taylor and Jack. I don't know. It's that kind of stuff is cool as shit for me. I love it. So my Hulk is coming down. My heart is growing bigger. I am no longer the Grinch, right?
We did it.
It's just, I don't know. That's what baseball is supposed to be like. And I want the good stories, the good camaraderie, the good putting together. I don't want to be mad at my baseball team. I want to be riding with my baseball team. So hopefully this is that year where we can get that together.
Yeah, I co-sign a lot of that. I don't want to add any more because that was the proper way to finish this for now.
Yep. Thank you, Taylor. Appreciate those kind words. Thank you, Jack. Appreciate that as well. We always try to do it our way, do it a little different. But as always, go Rocks and the minor league affiliates. Woo!